Trump expressed support for the Million MAGA March. Global Times propaganda said that according to Russian media, there was rioting at the rally.
In response to Pompeo's speech at Reagan Institute, the CCP said it's the most vicious attack Pompeo unleashed his last menace against China.
U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo said Taiwan isn't part of China. The CCP's foreign ministry again warned the U.S.
Wang Yi may visit Japan later this month. The foreign ministry said that China and Japan maintain close contacts at all levels.
Canadian ambassador to the UN condemned the CCP for the genocide in Xinjiang. The CCP's foreign ministry responded, "You're joking."
For the first time after World War II, the U.S. military built a new dry dock in Pearl Harbor. CCP's media called that move anti-China, even though it's anti-CCP.
Mainland tycoon Chen Fenglei was stabbed in Hong Kong. He offered a reward of 10 million Hong Kong dollars to arrest the suspect assaulting him.
Fire broke out in a Nepalese restaurant in Hong Kong, causing 18 casualties. Carrie Lam went to check the scene.
Hong Kong police announced they received 10,000 tips after the national security tips hotline had been launched for a week.
A new CCP-Virus case was found in Chengdu. I live in a Jinjiang hotel in Chengdu. A suspected novel coronavirus case was found in this hotel at 12 o'clock last night.
On November 15, during Xiamen CDC's routine testing on a cold storage warehouse, the novel coronavirus was detected on the packaging of imported frozen pork.
At Yanliang district in Xi'an City, the virus was detected on the outer packaging of frozen pork imported from Argentina. Today, the Xi'an City CDC detected the virus on the outer packaging of frozen pork imported from Argentina.
Merchants hoarding wet rice soaked by floodwater amid surging grain prices. Somewhere in communist China, merchants are buying wet rice at 20 cents per pound. The food crisis looms over the horizon.
The CCP Central Bank announced an 800 billion RMB MLF medium-term lending facility, which is the largest liquidity injection.
Staging the scene with props and poses for the TV crew, the CCP's official environmental protection and sanitation organization set up sweeping scenes for the camera crew. Such scams have long been commonplace.
Residents protest the government's unauthorized construction of garbage dumps. The government of Zhujiating Township in Shaoyang, Hunan, built a garbage incinerator on top of the mountain. The people raised banners to protest the environmental pollution.
A man in Shijiazhuang, Hebei province, was too poor to pay for much-needed treatment for his daughter, who has been seriously ill. In total despair, the man tried to take her life by drowning her.
The
CCP built a detention camp next to the Asu crematorium in Xinjiang. It's reported that these two camps are part of a network in all over Xinjiang. The people detained here are sent to nearby factories for forced labor, so CCP call it career centers. The detention camp and nearby factories were built simultaneously in 2017. There is a large crematorium nearby, also built in 2017. German scholars said the crematorium may be used to cover up the truth about the camp because many people detained are senior people and they're likely to die in an abnormal living environment.
CCP demolishing people's homes. Don't you gloat when you see other people's beautiful homes being demolished. In the future, the cost will be shared equally among all buyers of the house, so don't get excited too soon.
CCP's GDP source, Wuhan Pacific Building blasted. It's a waste of manpower and money. The Pacific Building next to the city center in Wuhan was demolished in the early morning, saying that due to urban planning needs.
While voter fraud deniers continue to proclaim the perfection of the U.S. election system, skeptics are looking at irregular patterns in vote data. In particular, software irregularities that would switch votes from President Trump to Joe Biden. Dominion Voting Systems is one such software that seemed to have a pattern of switching votes from Trump to Biden. How easily could bad actors have used Dominion to switch thousands of votes and alter an election? County by county, the answer is shocking. One American News spoke with Ron Watkins, a large systems technical analyst who has been poring over the Dominion Systems manual.
So I was looking at this manual with the mindset of a penetration tester, of which I am. I'm reading the manual with a discerning eye and trying to figure out which parts of the system could be abused by end users. The physical security of the device is the first step to security. If you can't secure the physical device, then you have no security. It's impossible to have security if you don't secure the physical device. So you have the issue of the person who is inside the tabulation machine, which is just a normal Windows 10 computer. Are they manipulating the votes before it goes to the flash drive? And then you have the next issue, which is now the votes are on the flash drive. How does that flash drive get to the county commissioner or whoever is assigned to accept the flash drive? Is the same flash drive being sent over? So you could swap the flash drive. Theoretically, there's no accountability.
I don't think people have any idea of the dimension of the national security problem that Dominion creates. This Dominion company is a radical left company. One of the people there is a big supporter of Antifa and has written horrible things about the president for the last 3 or 4 years. And the software that they use is done by a company called Smartmatic. It's a company that was founded by Chavez and by Chavez's two allies who still own it. It's been used to cheat in elections in South America. It was banned by the United States about a decade ago. It's come back now as a subcontractor to other companies. It sort of hides in the weeds. But Dominion sends everything to Smartmatic. Can you believe it? Our votes are sent overseas. They're sent to someplace else, some other country. Why do they leave our country?
Yeah. We have sworn witness testimony of why the software was designed. It was designed to rig elections. He was fully briefed on it. He saw it happen in other countries. It was exported internationally for profit by the people that are behind Smartmatic and Dominion. They did this on purpose. It was calculated. They've done it before. We have evidence from 2016 in California. We have so much evidence, I feel like it's coming in through a fire hose.
Wow. So, Sydney, you feel that you will be able to prove this. Do you have the software in your possession? Do you have the hardware in your possession? How will you prove this, Sydney?
Well, I've got lots of ways to prove it, Maria, but I'm not going to tell on national TV what all we have. I just can't do that.
Okay, but you have a small time frame here. The elections are supposed to be certified in early December. Do you believe that you can present this to the courts and be successful within this just couple of weeks?
Well, let me put it this way. First of all, I never say anything I can't prove. Secondly, the evidence is coming in so fast, I can't even process it all. Millions of Americans have written, I would say by now. Definitely hundreds of thousands have stepped forward with their different experiences of voter fraud.
know that you just spoke with President Trump, and I want to start. I saw you on the phone, but I want to start off with this tweet that President Trump put out because it's gone viral online, and a lot of people are saying that he is conceding. And here's what the president wrote on Twitter: "He won because the election was rigged. No vote watchers or observers allowed. Vote tabulated by a radical left, privately owned company, Dominion, with a bad reputation and bum equipment that couldn't even qualify for Texas, which I won by a lot. The fake and silent media and more." Rudy, he says he won. Is the president right now in this tweet conceding this election?
No, far from it. What he's saying is more, I guess you'd call it sarcastic or a comment on the terrible times in which we live, in which the media has said he won. But by going on to point out that it was illegal, obviously he's contesting it vigorously in the courts. The media has tried to call the election, and they don't have a legal right to call the election. It gets decided by our electors, not by NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, and even Fox. You don't get the right to call it. I don't get the right to call it. So he is contesting it vigorously.
Well, these two seats, as Lindsay well noted, are the last line of defense against this liberal socialist agenda the Democrats will perpetrate. We heard Schumer just last week say that if we take Georgia, we change America. We heard AOC say they have to have these two seats because they don't want to negotiate. They want total control. And so what's at stake is this, is that Schumer will change the rules in the Senate so they can do anything they want with 50 votes plus the vice president's vote as a tiebreaker. They'll pack the court. They want to add 4 new Democrat seats by adding 2 new states. And they eventually want to do away with the Electoral College. And that will allow them, Maria, to perpetrate this agenda that they've been espousing now through the presidential primary all year. And that is the Green New Deal. They want to defund the police, open borders. They want to have sanctuary cities. They want to cut the military spending after we've just begun rebuilding it after Obama's decimation of it. And then they want to take our private health insurance away. 180 million people, they want to take their private health insurance away. And again, the Green New Deal, which is the most exasperating part of this agenda, they are dead serious about it. So that's what's at stake here, is that we're the last line of defense, Maria.
We're here with Brandon Strzok and Ben Bergquam. By the way, we're blowing through the firewall into mainland China right now, getting tons of comments. My phone is blowing up. I want to bring in Prince. That's his nom de guerre. He's part of the new federal state and the whistleblower movement. Prince, you're also the new federal state of China. The diaspora is going to have its own rally tomorrow in Washington, D.C. Can you give folks, my phone has been blowing up all day. People, since you talked in the morning about it, everybody wants to know what time, where's it going to be. So walk people through the specifics.
Thank you, Mr. Bannon, for having me today. So I'm actually at the Washington Monument right now at the Sylvan Theater. It's overlooking the Washington Monument right next, it's actually right here in the plaza where Washington Monument is. We're going to be here tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. all the way until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And everything's looking great. We've got our flags up. We've got the Trump sign up. And we're ready to show our support for the Constitution, for President Trump, and most importantly, to spread the message about the necessity to take down the Chinese Communist Party.
Prince, I got to ask you, one of the most prominent lawyers in the country, Lynn Wood, who's representing the president down in Georgia, his Twitter feed for the last 2 days has been directly at the Chinese Communist Party for their involvement in this fiasco we've had since President Trump's victory on November 3rd. Enlighten our audience. What is Lynn Wood talking about? How's the Chinese Communist Party involved in any way in this election?
Well, we know that the best and the biggest weapon of the Chinese Communist Party is their control of the media, is their propaganda outlets, right? Things like CNN as well as Fox News, right? Fox News turned their back on us the election night by calling Arizona and then later on by declaring Joe Biden the winner. I mean, since when does media declare winner of presidential elections, right? So last time I looked at the Constitution, it wasn't in there. So I think Mr. Wood is exactly on point, and I think many more are waking up to the fact that the real threat comes from the Chinese Communist Party. They have their hands all over this election through media interference. But remember, this is a decade-long warfare the Chinese Communist Party has waged, not on just American people, but on the world. They've sent, tons of fentanyl to America. Since they joined the WTO in 2002, they've used economic theft, intellectual property theft to basically steal the middle class and the manufacturing base from America. So I think that people are starting waking up to the fact that the real enemy is the Chinese Communist Party, that we need to stand united. And united, we're stronger than them, and we will take down the Chinese Communist Party.
Prince, it's so great that you guys are down here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We're going to have full coverage of the rally.
The national emergency law President Trump announced. No one has explained it well enough. What is the significance of this law? I can tell you, it has two key objectives. The first one is decouple with the CCP, economic warfare. Remember this, economic warfare includes everything. It is not just like what Peter Navarro said. Sanction 30 or 100 companies. I can tell you once again, it was the whistleblower movement, Luda Media, who first mentioned decoupling. Our team of PhDs were the only ones discussing it on a daily basis, such as Ali An Hong, Dr. Bo, Dr. Yi, Dr. Guan, and Dr. Mo. What they talked about was decoupling. In fact, this emergency law is a preparation for decoupling. It's a legal framework, and it cannot be affected by anything. Decoupling does not have to be approved by anyone. Don't forget this. So what does this mean? It means all of the CCP's companies in the U.S., their assets will be seized soon. Not $1 will be spared. Every company under the CCP jurisdiction, both SOEs and private companies, CNPC, Sinopac, as well as Jack Ma's Alibaba and Lufex, everything will be seized. So brothers and sisters, the first thing, this law was the preparation for economic war. More importantly, it tells the U.S. market, decouple with the CCP is now set in stone. This is not a joke. So next, Hong Kong dollar and RMB, you will see what will happen. As for the CCP boasting about no food shortage and bumper harvest, and their so-called rolling pin, fake economy in Shanghai and Hong Kong, and their commodities market, you will see the reaction from those. Watch and see. Secondly, another more important core issue no one saw was, behind the economic war is the preparation for the start of a modern internet warfare. The focus of this is on those IT companies. Secretary Pompeo has told us privately, time and time again, the Great Firewall will be torn down, and it will absolutely be done by him.
U.S. COVID-19 cases cross 11 million as pandemic intensifies. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is self-isolating after coming into contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. Pakistan's second wave of COVID-19 infections gathers momentum. Malaysia, in final stage of talks with COVID-19 vaccine producer, aims to roll out immunization by Q1. Britain to open 2 new Mac labs for COVID-19 tests in early 2021. SIA Group passengers carriage down 98.1% in October amid tepid demand for air travel. Singapore new private home sales plunged 51.7% in October after new curbs. Japan pandemic hit economy returns to growth in July to September.
mama, are you okay over there? Your son is crying and missing you, and sees you in his dreams. You said take down the CCP, cause it's God's will, it's God's will. So I'll wait for you, and I'll see you when we end the CCP, yeah.